Respect for her parents, respect for elders. I truly appreciate that. She knows the word sir, ma'am. This is something you don't hear from young children anymore.
And we really like it. We think it's been really good for his self-confidence.
Excuse me, we're back.
Yes.
We're back with allergies.
We've been coughing since we've been on.
All right, so we threw around a couple of big words here earlier, just before we went to the commercial, and that was...
we had the question of the day.
Oh, we have the question of the
really
day.
quick, let me say it one more time. Which cartoon has a Butterfinger-loving character in it?
Which cartoon has a Butterfinger-loving character in it? So are we going to...
We'll do the answer probably on the next session.
All right.
Just give people a chance to
We'll
answer.
We'll let the suspense grow a little more.
Yes.
All right, so now to the terms that we want to define. If you can get our technical engineer Katrina to put up the little picture of our two terms. There we are.
Oh.
Achievement point versus developmental direction. Yes, I thought that up all by myself. It's really simple. It's really simple. Achievement point, all that means is, let's say, let me give you an example. It makes it much more easy to look at this. Let's say you have a young child and you're trying to teach the young child how to count. Right? And your goal right now is to teach the child to count all the way to the number 30, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 30. Right? Well, that goal, that's your achievement point. In other words, when this child is able to count all the way to 30, you've reached the achievement point. Right? Pretty self-explanatory. If the child is able to count from 1 all the way to 20 because you ran out of time or was just difficult, right, or it's just the first couple of lessons, then the child hasn't reached the achievement point yet. You can count to 20, but we were going for 30, right? But we nevertheless, you have the child that is able to count to 20 now, is going in the right direction, getting closer to the goal, is approaching the goal, right? He's trying hard, so you have the right developmental direction.
Okay.
Right?
So
Because you could have
backwards, just going forward. Yeah.
Exactly, going forward. Because you can have another child that is completely defiant in class and not doing any of this and doesn't go in the right developmental direction. He's messing with the equipment or something, right? Or messing with another child.
Yes, we've had plenty of those.
Yes, we have indeed. So now, motivating a child is really easy if you kind of understand two basic concepts. And I probably should have made a chart for that, but I didn't. So kind of get as simple and as obvious as it sounds. It's something that we have to remind ourselves of every day. And it is, number one, put most of your emphasis on working towards a goal.
Okay.
Number two, don't put most of your emphasis on reaching the goal. It's the same idea as what I just mentioned about achievement point versus developmental direction. And the problem is that, say, if you only praise achievement points, in other words, this child that you're trying to teach to count all the way to 30, and you don't praise that child until he finally reaches the number 30.
They're not going to be motivated to really...
Exactly.
They're going to lose interest.
Exactly. They're going to lose... There's probably a whole host of problems that arise,
Yeah.
but there's two major problems, and there's number one, your child is not going to appreciate the journey.
Yes.
Right?
It's going to be painful for them.
Exactly. Exactly. The perfect way to put it. It's painful for him. So they're probably going to be overly concerned about always reaching that final destination. It's always about, in school, that's going to translate into, until I get that A, all
I'm always going to be stressing. Yeah.
Exactly.
B is not good enough.
Exactly, right? And so that also kind of brings up the second problem with always worrying about the achievement point too much, and that is it dramatically increases anxiety. It very much increases anxiety in the child. And since there seems to be no benefit, if I today was able to learn to count to 20, then today was a waste. That's how a young child often perceives it like that, right? Today I was a failure because I didn't reach that point.
Oh, because it was supposed to be 30. Yes.
Right? So now this child is not, they're anxious because they haven't reached the point yet. They don't know if they can, right? And it demonizes making mistakes. In other words, if this child makes a mistake, they feel that they're doing something wrong. Right? And we see that a lot with young children, and often, unfortunately...
Now, this is going for the children that is really trying to make this goal, right?
Exactly. And really, it's any time when you overemphasize having to reach a specific goal in a specific time span, and it's all about that. You have to, within the next 3 days, finish this chapter in this book, or you have to do this many problems in math. That's achievement point-oriented teaching. In other words, It's all about, can you do this much stuff in this much time?
That's usually how they, if I'm
Right.
correct, is how they do things in
Right.
school.
And of course, as you get older, you have to learn that. You do have to learn that to some degree, right? But if you emphasize that primarily, you're going to get these two problems. Number one, your child is going to stop enjoying learning. Number two, there's going to be a lot of anxiety. Number three, they're going to start thinking of mistakes as being something negative rather than as something positive. All right? How often have we had a conversation with a child where they couldn't really see that point, right? Oh, I messed up, so there's something wrong with what I did
Yeah,
today.
they just see what's here and now.
Right, right. And just to clarify that one point, and especially when we train for a black belt in karate, we very much welcome the idea of making mistakes.
Yeah,
That's how you learn. Yeah, that's how you learn, right? So now we see this all the time at our karate school because we also see with beginning students. They're all, as you know, we give them an opportunity to eventually show that they are able and that they can qualify to train for black belt.
Yes.
It's not a given with the beginning student. When a student first
They have
starts,
to qualify.
right, they have to qualify for one of the programs that allow them to train for black belt, right? And in order to do that, we check how they do at home and how they do at school,
Yes, we do.
right? And most of the time, I think you would agree, we have to refer to the parent. A lot of times it'll be mom,
Yes.
right? And the teacher, right? And we don't see the teacher as often.
We
see
try to stay in contact with both parents, but
Exactly.
usually it's mom
Yeah.
that brings them.
So here's what we often see during this process. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to actually talk about one of our students right now, and I'm not going to mention her real name. We're just going to call her Jenny today.
Okay.
Okay, Jenny's about 5 years old, right? And the mom brought Jenny to us because she wanted Jenny to get better with focusing in class, and she's also very wiggly. She moves around all the time. She can't hold still.
Yes.
Right? No impulse control. And so. And what was going on originally was that mom was always getting calls from the school every week,
Every week.
right, about Jenny doing this wrong, Jenny doing that wrong. She was always in trouble,
Yes.
right?
She would speak out.
Right, she would shout out
Also.
in class, and she would not focus on the subject. Right?
Correct.
Now, we're very, very good with motivating children. We're very good at getting them to focus better in class, and we had a result with her almost immediately. Right?
Yeah.
Within about,
Start improving.
right? Now, what was difficult is to understand what mom's viewpoint was on this, because she was influenced also by the school and the teacher.